back at the workshop again, and it's about 5:30 in the evening. Just got here, and I'm going to see how much I can do before I get tired out. There's a lot of things still I'm waiting for them to arrive, but there's still a fair bit I can do. The exhaust needs welding up, which now I can TIG a little bit. I can at least have a go at. I need to sort the charge cooler, which we've got an idea of how to do that now. A bit different from the original plan, but it's a better plan. It was just one of those random, I wouldn't say stroke of genius, but something I thought up. It was like, oh shit, yeah, of course. So yeah, I'm gonna get on with stuff. I think first I'm gonna do the charge cooler, purely because I like to kind of feel like I've achieved more when I've got things at least sorted. I mean, that's sorted, it just needs welding up. It's now many hours later, and I've done loads of stuff and filmed precisely none of it. Reason was, I don't know. In all honesty, it was one of them things where if I would have filmed it as I was going along, you probably would have been watching it thinking, fuck is this shit? That's a stupid idea. Like all my stuff is. But now it's done, it makes more sense. So fuck it, come and have a look. First thing we will talk about is the charge cooler. You know, the big charge cooler I got. And it was the only thing I didn't really like in the engine bay. Thomas was like, why don't you run a smaller charge cooler? It's like, no, I don't want to. I want maximum cooling potential. So I want the biggest charge cooler I can. But, you know, and I said, look, it does fit, it's just fucking awkward. And it was like, well, yeah, fair enough, let's just fit it. Problem is, as you would have seen in previous videos, well, it wasn't a problem, but it was very tight in there. And it was like, it was difficult to work out exactly the best way of doing it. And then there was still the issue of making some mounts from underneath to keep it in place, which would be difficult because you'd have to literally pretty much make the mounts from underneath. And then obviously it filled up the engine bay in, you know, in the way I had it laid out quite massively, considering the engine bay apart from that is a dream to work on. But the charge cooler, I would never give up, you know, cooling for convenience, but I wasn't happy with suddenly having an engine bay. It was all lovely and easy to work on, ballsed up by a charge cooler slap bang in the middle, making it tricky to work on. Obviously, once you remove it, you know, when you're working on the car, easy to work on. But if you're removing a charge cooler, wow, you're probably gonna get water everywhere for one, and it's just a ball ache. It's not like an intercooler, there's water in it. So when you move shit, you're gonna get messy, and everything's gonna get messy. And I was thinking, no, I can't be fucking dealing with that, because obviously it sits above the gearbox and gear linkage and all that. So any gear linkage adjustment, it would have to be removed, which obviously there's not going to be once the car's sorted, but at the first there will be, so we can set it up properly. And anytime the gearbox has to come off, I would have to remove the charge cooler from the top to just get to all the bolts and all that. And it was like, oh, fucking hell. Really wasn't happy with that. So me and Thomas spent ages looking, you know, where can it go? Sort of, you know, what angle, because obviously it was going here. And it was like, what angle, blah, blah, blah. And there was always a compromise, but it always filled up this area. And then suddenly I was like, hang on. I've kind of forgot the obvious thing here, and something I've done many times before. Why don't I just put it inside the car? There's loads of room back here. So yeah, I mean, this is what most drag cars do in America. They pull it, well, front engine ones there, pull it under the dash. And it's like, why not? It's not going to make it hot, it's not going to make it noisy, it's not going to make it smelly, it's just the boost pipes. It's not, you know, doing anything. The passenger seat, there's still plenty of room. It's like, well, fucking job done. So now, it's all super easy to work on, and it's in a good location, and even better really, there's absolutely zero heat soak on, you know, from the engine onto this now. So yeah, and as you can probably see, 3.5 down to 3, it goes 2.5, and then it goes through the bulkhead into the engine bay. And it's the same with this one. This goes 3.5, then 3.5 to 3, and then through the bulkhead. And I will show you, because it's more clear on this side. I use stainless steel pipes so I could weld them to the bulkhead. They're literally just spot welded at the moment. But they're solid in place, and I'm going to add seam sealer all around them, so no shit from the engine bay, you know, noise or smoke, well, it's fumes really, gets into the cabin. But yeah, job done. That one there from the throttle body was the one I did first, because it's the trickiest. Because there's not that much room there, I had to work out a good way of doing it, and like a straight up bend straight off the throttle body, it wasn't going to happen, because while it was possible, it would make getting the boost pipe on that goes from the throttle body to whatever goes through the bulkhead literally impossible. It was like, you know, no point, you're just creating yourself problems. So I did the sensible thing. So now it comes out the throttle body, a 45, then a 90, and then goes through the bulkhead at an angle, and it's perfect. And the bottom one, look, it's through the bulkhead, and then it's a 45-degree pipe that goes up, and then to here, to the turbo. Literally perfect. So look at all the room in the engine bay. This is pretty much as busy as the engine bay is going to be now. The only thing missing really is I need to put an oil catch tank, which can go down there, wherever, and probably the oil cooler, which again can go, well, to be honest, I might make use of this ducting that used to work for the air box. I'll make it better though, and put the oil cooler there. But whatever. I also figured out the turbo intake pipe. This was trickier than it originally looked. Before I just knocked up 2 pipes, you know, 2 alley bends, and I was like, yeah, that'll work. And then when I looked at it closely, the turbo inlet's too close to the strut tower for those bends. So it's like, oh fuck. But I did have, because the alley bends they never tend to be that tight, but I did have a 3-inch tight stainless bend. So I cut it down as short as I could, you know, as in, so it was still a little bit of straight to put the pipe on, and it was just about right, which is ideal. And then a little joiner, and then alley pipe from there on, it'll go down there, and then the MAF sensor and the air filter will be tucked right down there in the air duct, in the cold air feed, and job done. So yeah, all looking pretty fucking good. Very happy with the layout now. I haven't welded the exhaust or anything yet, and obviously there's a fair few of these boost pipes that need, the metal ones that need welding or whatever. I haven't done these yet. I had a bit of a mess about with the TIG welder earlier, and I was suddenly really shit with it, but I think I know why. I think it was more than me, I think it was the tungstens were blunt and fucked. It's my bad, really. But I'm not, you know, whatever. So I haven't gone and done any TIG welding today because my skills was not good enough to justify it. And to be honest, this stuff's more important, so I did this first. I'm gonna get some seam sealer. I think I've run out, to put around the way the boost pipes are going through the chassis. And apart from that, we're fucking all good. Oh, another thing I've done is the bonnet scoop vent, vent is now riveted on with some real big, I can't remember what they're called, cap head rivets or something, I don't know. They got a real wide top on them, which is kind of what I needed because the holes were fairly big. They're a bit shiny at the moment, so I don't like them yet, but once they dull down, obviously it's aluminium, once they dull down to more the colour of the stainless steel vent, they'll be fine. This is what it looks like from underneath, by the way. Pretty mental. But that, honestly, ends just where the fans open, you know, the fan opening begins. So it's literally the perfect height. So while somebody was like, oh, you know, you're going to cut away any of that front, honestly, no, because that would gain me nothing. It's the perfect height for it at the moment. So, job done. And apart from that, I'm done for today, I think, and probably for this video. You know what I'd quite like, that I don't know where I could get them from, but you can get like additions to the side vents that are like small, turns them into more scoops. They're quite subtle, but they would probably work pretty well, and considering I'm using that one to feed the air filter, it'd probably be a good thing to use. I don't know where you get the fuckers from. I think they're called C's Factory. Oh, I don't bloody know. Something. I don't think they're made anymore, but the replicas are made, and I don't think they're even made anymore. I don't know. They might not fucking do anything. That's the trouble. It's like a lot of these things, it looks like it would, but I would say, looking at these are designed to work as they are. So maybe those scoops wouldn't actually make them any better. You know, you look at the design of that, that's not for show. That is, looks like it's actually designed to work. So maybe I'll leave it, I don't know. That's shit for the future. I mean, you know, at some point, I'm no doubt going to put a front splitter, some kind of small rear spoiler and so on, just to get it looking and sort of the aero wise how I want it. Mostly for, like, you know, high speed stability, which I know, that's why I've done the bonnet vent, and I know a few other things will help a bit on light cars, which is mostly a front splitter, but a small rear spoiler, a bit like, this one's alright. I don't mind this at all, Thomas's one. Something like that would be fine. I don't want anything big at all. But fuck knows, that's for the future. I don't, you know, that don't matter for now. The main thing for now is to get this motherfucker on the road, which shouldn't be too long. I have got loads of stuff arriving maybe tomorrow, between tomorrow and the next few days, put it that way. Like parts, I've pretty much ordered everything I need now. Like all the last little bits ordered. So, yeah, things are coming along nicely. Oh, I'll tell you what as well. The one thing Thomas still had to do to sort was to make the rev counter work. Speedo's always worked. Battery light, oil light, that kind of stuff always worked. But he never got around to making the rev counter work on his one, and it'd be the same for that. And the reason is it runs through the standard ECU. And on the K20 conversions and so on of these, they use this funky and quite expensive and quite complicated box of tricks to make it work. And Thomas was like, you know what? I've got a better idea. Cheaper, simpler, more reliable, and more OEM, which was kind of the even better side of it. You know, don't know about you, but I trust OEM parts more than some aftermarket fucking box of tricks. So he finally tried it. When was he? A couple of days ago when I was here. When Thomas was last here, he finally tried it. His prototype, very simple, but it needs custom making and it's fucking clever. And and we tried it and it works. So instantly working rev counter, which also means on these working everything else, all the ABS, all that shit, all operates when the rev counter works. But yeah, you'll see a lot more of that soon. But it's fucking brilliant because it's cheaper, it's more reliable, it's more OEM, it's simpler, and yeah, everyone else's solutions on engine swaps of these uses some complicated box of electronics, and it's like, fuck that. There's a good OEM way that Thomas has figured out because he's a bit clever like that. So that's what this is running now. That's what this will run to, and I hazard guess everybody who will be doing any of these, you know, the 180 or 19 TDI swaps will use this kit as well. I mean, you could run that box of tricks that they use for the K-swap ones. That will work on any engine as far as I know. It seems to, it's this box that you can convert the signal from whatever other engine to make everything work on the original shit. But there's a better way, but that can be shown in a later video. So yeah, hope you like this one. I don't know if this is the whole video, might be, but if it is, like, subscribe, you know, tell your friends, leave a comment, all that good shit, and I will see you next time, which will be soon, because like I said, there's loads of stuff coming, and as you can see, things are progressing rapidly. See you next time.